Fear is there to warn you. And if you listen to the message clearly, you can avoid things.
From CNR JUTA De Beer, imini umsindisi wesizwe, umvelisi ummelisi wesizwe, formerly known as Lwazi Madonsela, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture but also formalize the street hustle. On today's episode, we have
Una Rams. CNR JUTA De Beer, umsindisi wesizwe special edition. Thank God for the savings. We and today I'm sitting with the Grammy.
What is that?
It's like a Sarazela. I want to call the vendor because I actually know the name.
Huh.
And then with that, it represents everything I am. It's more for manifestation. What do they call it? Affirmations.
Yeah.
It's one of my affirmations, like him, we end. Like
Ah.
I want to add we now yet.
I see you.
Him
That's
and
hard.
here.
That's hard.
But more than anything, I think if I had to start this interview, I wouldn't want to start it with anything to do with your accolades. I purely just want to start it from a point of like, how do you know how to roll out a music? Like you be rolling out music at the highest level, and it's not even the quality of the stuff, it's not the styling, it's not the quality of the image or the retouching. It's purely from the team, because the team on their own become a rollout asset towards the whole project. How's that been for you? How have you done that?
It's been fun. And I think at the core of it, that's what fuels me and has me going. Outside of making the music in the studio and having it sound amazing, it's I want to be a fan of how I introduce that to the people, and because I live with the music so long, it's so simple for it not to become exciting for me. But if I make that whole experience where I'm sharing it with the people as exciting for the people as it is for me, then we have a certified winner there. And I've also just been blessed and fortunate to have guys like Mishal, Gangaram, and the Children of Midas that have been great creative partners, and it's cool. It's like sparring with ideas and actually getting to execute at the same time. So yeah, like there's still a lot. We're winging a lot of things. It doesn't look that way, but like I said, just having fun with it.
Yeah. I sit back most times when I create, and I sit back and become an audience member, right? I'm looking at you right now. It's like, yeah, the mixtape dropped. But right now you're on this subtle rollout where you're more present.
Yeah.
People can see you. You every week you're performing somewhere, sometimes more than twice. And that's very rare for an R&B act, especially considering that you're still independent. How you manage to get yourself booked, get yourself in these spaces, also cultivate your audience, because most of us, like, we've never seen you live and that intimately.
Fairness. One big thing for me has been being intentional and like throwing myself in the way of opportunity. A lot of the conversations that have happened, a lot of the things that have come up have been because, I've gone out and shared and expressed what it is I'm trying to achieve. Even the Sonic exhibition that we did, that was something that was out of our own pocket. And I remember waking up quite a couple of times not in shock, but more like out of anxiety, bro. Just going, is this worth it? Like, you're spending a big bag doing this thing, and you're not even dropping the music right now. But like, it comes back to that whole build it and they will come. When I'm able to say I'm doing something that speaks to or communicates very well how I'm trying to be perceived and how I'm trying to have the music perceived, everyone else is able to see that and be like, yo, we can bid on this horse because it's a winning horse, instead of just sitting on my hands. Yeah.
And then in that process, right, I had my first live show. Like, it was a bigger scale than me, because we had a broader team. Shout out Mamta, shout out Carl, shout out Yamasu, and Hallmark. We had like a wider team. For the first time, my ideas were not my ideas. It was like, this is what I'm trying to do. These are the ways I've thought about it, and I need you guys to assimilate. How's that experience been for you? Like, now we're doing it at a gallery. Gallery. Actually, this is what we need. This is what we want. We're trying to put a bed in the gallery. Also, a gallery comes with this cosign that no one speaks of. It's like the environment you're in also articulates the level of product you're with. how have you fostered those relationships besides just like speaking about it? How do we get to the next level where it's like, I won't be at circuit, but how do I actually run the conversation?
And get in there. I think the basis of it all is just people. We're all humans, and I think there's something special, even in seeing you do your thing, you know, that's inspiring. And if you came and shared something with me, and I felt like there's a way I could help, then that like relationship fosters or like births something beautiful. And for me, I've just been fortunate enough to have these type of relationships that have been developed over time, and I know cool people. I know cool people who are in cool places, and that makes it so much easier when I'm trying to pitch an idea and there's someone rooting for you on the inside already. It goes a long way. So yeah.
And then how do you share your ideas with the broader team? Because to this day, I suck at writing things. I can tell you how it's supposed to be, but in me telling you, it's like, I don't think it's been done. So there's no reference points on Pinterest, you know? How's that been, relaying your story?
I think one of my talents outside of making music is bringing people together for a common goal or purpose. And there's a lot of wild things that exist in here. And even when I'm making music, that process is still, you know, the same. So it kind of feels like practice. And if I'm working with a producer or something, I have to communicate what's in here so we can translate it into something we can hear. So being able to communicate those ideas becomes very crucial. But yeah, like it's also a collaborative sport, because the initial thought or idea I might have may not be the grandest thing. And once we're in conversation and we're collaborating, you know, it's fun to play that whole bounce back and ping pong of ideas, because then it grows and expands into something else. For instance, I knew I wanted to do an exhibition. How it was going to look, I wasn't too sure. How things were going to work out, I wasn't too sure. But I knew I wanted to do, you know, visuals or visual assets on the one side, and then we have a performance art on the other side. And then Mish is like, yo, how about we have a bed in the whole set? And I'm like, yo, that's beautiful. See, so that expands and makes something bigger. And I guess that's why they say two heads are better than one. And shout out Sansa too, because he really pulled out the stops with the set design.
Talent we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, I think just not taking anything too seriously and pushing ego to the side and letting the best idea win. That's a principle we follow in studio. It could be the photographer that's there going, hey, how about you try this instead? And if it bangs harder than the original idea, we're going to go for it. Yeah.
In those relationships, how do you maintain them? Because when we create, this is my turn to shine, right? The greater goal is that we expressing our individual skills collectively to get this to work out.
Yeah.
How do you then take that and then relay it to an opportunity for them the next time? Because I've noticed you're on a rampage of features for a lot of rappers, even though some would look at it like, oh, that rapper's still coming up, this is that, you've gone here, you know, this is who you've become. How do you maintain those relationships? Say, I see where you're going. I see where we can get it to.
It comes back to being a fan, really. A fan of people doing their thing. And I'm a Pisces, so there's this like subtle tenderness to it. Don't mess with me though, because I will get you. But
I say shout out Pisces. I've been messed with.
But yeah, I genuinely want to see the people in my life succeed, and I genuinely want to make sure that they're okay, because I know how difficult it is navigating these spaces as a creative. And community is always way better. Like being surrounded by people that are like-minded and that care about you goes a long way. So it just, I don't know, feeds into everything else we create, and you can feel that warmth and love even when we're making something together, because it's not just a once-off impersonal thing. It's literally our baby at that point. Yeah.
Your sense of community, where does it derive from? Because my first ever hearing about Una Rams, I'm probably like, I think matric or grade 11.
Damn, that makes me feel old.
You vintage. I hear about you then from Neo. I don't know Neo. Short. Yeah. Well, what was that? That's crazy. My bad. Yeah.
Damn, Neo.
You know, buff dude. You know, fly dude. You know. Yeah. So my first interaction through your music is Neo. Neo was like, "Yo, Una's my guy. You need to check out my guy." And then the next time I see you is Select Thursdays with Puma.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Because like that's very early stages of who you are still working towards. But at that moment, how did you feel? Because a lot of our listeners, for me, I still feel like I'm still waiting for the Puma Select call, you know? So most of us are in that creative part. Yeah. How did it feel at that moment? And how did you know that you were going to go beyond this moment? Because there's a lot of anxiety that comes with being a creator.
True. Yo, where do I even start? Like, it was wild to me, and I think it's something that made me realize that as much as we were internet kids and pushing things online the whole time, I really wanted things in real life. Because it was just something special about having people in a room to share these moments and create memories. And I think that speaks higher volumes than just posting a link and saying, hey, new song out. It was wild, man. It's one of the first ever times I ever saw people line up like around the block. So it's such an affirming moment too, to be in that space and be like, hey, I'm that guy.
I'm really him.
I'm really him. So yeah, like you're saying, I've been guilty of not celebrating my moments enough, and I think we kind of had a conversation before. We were like, things only registered 2 weeks later.
It's like, I'm just trying to get this done to get that done. So eventually, hopefully, everything is done.
Bro, I remember in high school I had a goal, and for me it was to make top 3 academically.
Yeah.
Matric, I think it's 3rd semester or something. I make it. Like, they announce my name, and I'm walking towards the stage. But on the way, I'm not feeling like, yo, I did it. I'm not celebrating. I'm just going, how am I going to outdo this? And that's pretty much how I've been navigating my spaces and accolades or accomplishments. It's always been a question of what do we do next? And it's not entirely a healthy practice.
I mean, we're still alive.
Hey! So I'm trying to take in the moments a bit more and be present and fully see and realize what's going on. But I think the part of that works is it allows me to be scared. And fear is not the best thing to drive you, but fear is your friend.
I've always said anger. I feel
Same.
like I accomplish more angry. Like,
word.
Yeah, I accomplish more. It's like, I gotta do better. I gotta do better.
But what are you mad at?
Like, when I'm angry, right? I feel like at that point in time I'm alone, right? And it's rare in life that when you start ticking off boxes in your life that you actually feel alone. Because there's a certain extent of that, oh, I can just go to Una's thing. Oh, I can actually just call Una and chill with him, right? But there's those moments where you actually need the solitude, which most times for me, it's unhealthy, comes from anger. Where it's like, I feel like I'm not done right. You know, I'm not. It's that 50 Cent in me where it's like, and right now because I'm so angry, I feel like everyone is against me, right? Damn. And in that moment of everyone feeling like they're against me, bear in mind, everyone has their own life. Yeah. Like, we always think that it's narrow. Nah, everyone has their own life. Yeah. But in that moment, I feel like I'm alone. I'm the only one who can save me. And the only way to save myself is to be a better version of myself.
Sucks.
So it's a weird dynamic where it's like, at my lowest, that's when I feel like I'm the strongest. Yeah. Because that's when I can create again. I saying this to a homie of mine that it's going to be interesting what type of music we're going to get from Kanye now, because checking back his record, every moment where he's been angry and ostracized,
he's hit us differently.
There's no one else you can rely on. But I'm hearing your perspective say the fear. What's the role fear has played in your life?
I mean, in a conversation in therapy, we spoke about how fear is there to warn you. And if you listen to the message clearly, you can avoid things. Bad things, that is. So for me, there's a fear of not like seeing my potential through the whole time, right? Like I know who I want to be, and there's a version of me that exists, and it's there. And there's, of course, everything I've done, and there's where I am right now.
Yeah.
And I think even growing up, my life looks a lot different from how I imagined it as a kid. And a process I've been going through this year has been like acknowledging that and mourning that old version or that old dream, and giving space or making room for a new one and saying, hey, I'm here, and where do I go from here? Where do I want to go? And good example is like the fact that I still work, right? Love my job, but it fulfills a different part of me. But the reality is it takes away a lot of time from my passion and what I want to be doing the whole time.
Yeah.
And if you know me, you will know I've wanted to do music full time for a minute, but financially it wasn't making sense. So I've still had to be at it. And COVID happens. We start working remotely, and I realize I can work from anywhere in the world. So why not take the opportunities to go to the places and do what I love, yet holding this thing down that's holding me down.
Yeah.
Until we make it make sense. So it's those little things. And yeah, like I'm doing things that scare me. So I'm feeling the fear and still going, let's rock. It's like the exhibition I say, I was waking up from my sleep, bro. Going, this is crazy. You're crazy. But still falling forwards every time, and realize, because I think the one thing was just, if I'm going to say I'm hosting something, I want people there to enjoy themselves and obviously receive the highest level and quality of an experience. So there's thoughts of, we've never done this before. What if everything is just wrong and everything's messed up and it tarnishes your brand?
Yeah.
But I was just like, it's a risk worth taking, because even if I don't get it right, I will learn something and we'll move forward from there. So yeah, I'm challenging myself now more than ever, and there's still a couple of like crazy missions going on and conversations being had, and I'm just going, are you really doing this? And the best part is just moving forward, and you know, I'm not gonna get it right all the time, but even post exhibition or post the shows and whatnot, like it's a great feeling to be on the other side of the mountain now and going, yo, I can do this. And it gives me a lot more confidence to go for higher goals, because there's a lot I want to achieve even outside of the music.
Every time I do this, or in general, every time as creatives we hit that milestone that we have set, this thing that happens, right? It's like, because you've done the exhibition so well, you've done the one-man show so well, you've done this, the album's done so well, you've figured out the method, and now you're trying to partner with more people to actually get to the bigger, the scarier level.
Yeah.
How's it been when you probably pitched and text go green? How have you handled that? How do you move past that situation and also understand that maybe it wasn't meant to work out at this stage, at this time, or via this way? Because sometimes, we talked about it a bit earlier, about this idea of going into a deal but not coming out better out of the deal. But yeah, how's that process?
I've had to realize that it's business. Business is business, and it's nothing personal. And there's a thing about timing that's super special. So right now, for instance, I'll give an example of a dude I've been speaking to. The communication has been like kind of tricky and slowed things down somewhere, to the point where it does feel like, you know, takes go green. This is over like the span of 3 months or something. But now you soldier on and do what you have to do with what you have. And the conversation is changing now, because, you know, they can see that something is brewing. And we just had to find something we could both be like, we're excited about this and let's move forward. But I don't take it personally. Of course it hurts. It does hurt my feelings. Because, what do you mean you're not going to take this? It's a brilliant idea. But like you said earlier, people have their own lives. I guess companies have their own goals and objectives. And sometimes if it's not aligning right now, it's just not right now. So I really believe in delay, not denial. Yeah.
Has this been a constant for you since the Puma days, where you just like this kid getting seating, you being seen by people, you feeling like, what I'm doing matters, what I'm doing has an impact on people, but what I envision for myself is here, and what's happening for me is still a bit around here.
Sure.
But everyone is treating me like I'm here.
Yeah.
How's that balance been for you to understand the reality of how people perceive you and who you are, two different worlds?
I'll tell you a funny story. This is one time, I was post a show or something. I was just gonna get myself some food. I'm posting a story because I was very active online, and I had my card. It was a Capitec card at the time, so it's on there on the story.
The gold one.
I think it was the gold one.
Damn.
Anyways, I get a DM from a fan, like a young fan even. They're like, Una Rams uses Capitec? And I was there like, I'm not sure how to feel, like, but the one favor I've really tried to do for myself at least is just to make sure I'm grounded and stay rooted to who I believe I am. And I can't control people's perceptions of me. So I've had to like kind of detach from that and just make sure that like I'm working on myself to be the best version of myself. And when I present that out to the world, people can receive that however. It's just a blessing that, people are seeing the goal. It's also encouraging having people be like, yo, you deserve to be there. Because it's like I'm not just seeing it for myself by myself, but other people are seeing it for me. And I think it's like a group prayer, if anything. Yeah.
How do you stay affirmed?
How do I stay affirmed?
Yeah, because it's so strange, right? I feel like I understand you to a certain degree, but it's like I feel that like in that moment, because every time you go out, you present a certain way. Like you've had this look for like a minute now, where it's the Y2K. You're making sure you're in two pieces the whole time. This whole investment. How do you stay affirmed in that? They might not get it now, but they'll get it when it's time. And then mid you saying that the beat's not getting cleared. This is not happening. How do you stay that? I know I want a Bentley, but in this little course out, man, I'm gonna get there even if it breaks down on the way.
The little things, the small wins, bro. Like, we had quite a challenge even getting this first single that we submitted ready. It was an uphill battle. Producer coming back saying the project file's corrupted. This and that. We had to go re-record vocals. And all of this is happening while we're planning the events, doing rehearsals for the shows. But after every rehearsal, you're listening back to the music and the arrangement that the players came up with, and it's like, okay, this is banging. Doing a photo shoot, seeing the stills coming out fire, it's like, this is dope. So if anything, I'm just making things I'm proud of, and that keeps me going. Because it's a lot of things, a lot of songs too that people don't get to hear until like it's been a year or something. But when I keep going and I keep track of the little wins, fuel's always there, always refueled. So yeah, like, does it matter if they don't get it? No. Those that get it, I guess. And yeah, like, I even saw a tweet yesterday. Someone said something so lovely. They were like, I think they mentioned myself, Aubrey. I'm trying to say the surname, but the click gets me. There we go. And Java. And they said, like, these guys are making, like, timeless music, and it's music we're gonna pass on for generations. And I think that's been a big goal for me, at least. I want people to play Una Rams on spaceships when they're going to the next planet, you know?
This is why Digoran, I pronounce it right?
Well, what you said?
Digoran. How do you pronounce it?
Dotorari.
Ditorari.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's what you were trying to say. Yeah.
But like, the Nguni in me always like, you know, it's a bit tough at the back. Is that why you shifted into that?
You mean making
to make it more
music
South
and
African, like the sound, the language, the dialect, moving into that space?
I've had like a personal journey where I've just been falling in love with my own language and culture, and wanting to, I guess, make a bold declaration and parade it, you know? Because the only window a lot of South African people have into the Venda culture is through Muvhango. Right? And that's
in the land with Africans.
Yeah, and that's like too small a window to see what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
And I'll have to give, credit where it's due. Seeing people like Shoma Josie, Makadzi, and the king of Venrap himself, Mizophil, doing their thing and like you're making it cool. I was just like, what's stopping me? And there's a lot I'm trying to do for the kid that's just like me, growing up back in Venda, and I want them to know it's possible. So seeing, Una Rams speaking in your home language goes the extra mile. It makes you feel like, oh, this guy is... Because I've had a lot of people come up to me and they're like, I didn't know you were South African. I was like, huh?
Speaking of people feeling that, like, oh, I'm shocked you're South African.
Yeah.
How's that moment where you've been accoladed globally? How does that feel?
Very affirming and scary. Because it's like, these are the kind of dreams I had as a kid, and it kind of begs the question, what do you do when your dreams come true? And how do you sustain that? Yeah. But for me, it's been like the whole process of how that song happened, how it landed on the album, feels very random and weird in the best way possible. I'm a firm believer in serendipity. So it's not everything I'm doing that's super calculated. I told you I'm a Pisces, so I'm a go with the flow type of guy.
Messy.
Hey, I'm not saying that, right? But I do love a bit of structure, but I'm aware of the fact that it's not everything I'm gonna have planned out to the T. So getting that accolade for me was just like, your dreams are valid. You can do anything. And if anything, stop thinking small. Not that I was thinking small, but I could think bigger. And also just making it like very vivid and clear to me that we're not just playing on a small scale or stage. It's a lot of ears and eyes watching around the world. So it became, the name of the game became how do we take this there? I've always wanted to export the sound. I've always wanted to take my music out there, and I think it's a beautiful moment in time we're living in, where we're seeing so many stars coming up, and so many stars doing proper tour circuits around the world. Yeah. And shout out to Amapiano, because it becomes a spotlight for the country. And I'm hoping that, cards are played right. And, the focus that's on the country does us a lot more good. Because if things are moving this way, the fashion is booming, the music is booming, tourism is booming, there's an attention to the place. I was in Ghana, and I was in an Uber, and I'm seeing like a random kid, bro. He's doing the no headsets, nothing, and it feels like we're the new America. And I'm saying this because remember Vine times?
Yeah.
I remember religiously going through that before TikTok was TikTok.
That's how we all learned the name.
You know what I'm saying? You look out for what the next dance trend is, what the next slang is online, and America would primarily be like the culture hub for that. But now it's like new music drops, and I'm more excited about drops at home than drops out there. And to be honest, if you've seen the shows, the Mapiano DJs are hosting out in Amsterdam and Paris and whatnot, people going crazy for this. You know, so it's like, if there's people that think like me out there, they would be curious about what else exists.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put myself in a position where I meet their curiosity globally.
Yeah. What do you think it really takes to achieve everything you've achieved thus far? What has it really taken from you? Because we highlight the things we've received. You've received community, you've received an opportunity to further see your dreams, you've received an opportunity, etc., etc. But what has it really taken from you?
Requires a lot of sacrifice, because pretty much working 2 jobs right now, all right? So there isn't much time to just like chill. Or at least my chilling looks different now, because I know I have a mission to accomplish and a job to do. And I caught myself somewhere just after I started working, where I'd come home and it was Netflix and the day would go. And I was just like, bro, if you say you want this, what are you doing? What are you doing for it? Yeah, and I remember having this conversation kind of like with Ricky, and he said to me straight, you don't want this bad enough. And I was looking at him like, do you understand what I'm going through?
I got a beard too.
He said I got a beard
too. Nigga, I want this.
Man, and I guess like it's, a lot of people don't know I have another job, or a job, or day job, right? So for them, it's like, oh, why is this man only dropping once every 2 years or something? He doesn't want it. And I can't fault them for thinking that way, but things take time. And I've been working really hard to get better at shortening the amount of time from inception to execution. And I think that'll come through. Even relationships require quite a strong sacrifice. Because like performing at the Marabi Club 2 weeks ago, it was my parents' anniversary, and I'd driven all the way to Joburg to spend the day with their kids in it. But I was at the show. So much FOMO. We video called in. I mean, I went to have breakfast with them in the morning, so I did spend some time with them. Yeah. I'm a terrible kid. But, you know, just missing some of those moments and not always being available. Even when my friends hang out, like catching things on like the back end sometimes, it's just like, can't be there. But I'm so fortunate to have people that understand that this is the goal and vision and dream I have for myself, and they're willing to support me, even if it means seeing me a bit less. Yeah.
That's quite insane. It's quite profound. And the relationships, how do you foster those relationships when I have the goal, I have the job, I have me, I have family? How do you actually foster those relationships? Because like you're very publicly with your friend, like you always with your friends, your best friend, you've had interviews with your best friend, everything. Your friendship circles seem tight knit and very well nourished.
Yeah.
How do you still foster being the best version of the friend when you can be the friend? Because there's moments where I feel like I'm so zoned in on what needs to happen. I'm not cognizant of everyone's needs around me, and not how I want to present to them, but how they probably need me to show up at that current moment.
I think a little grace goes a long way, and like genuinely caring about the people I keep close to me. I want to know what's going on, you know? We might not always be able to get on a phone call or like see each other, but there's ways, you know, technology allows you to catch up. So even if it's like just replying to a story because you saw them do something cool, something they enjoy doing, a little really goes a long way. So it's been understanding that it's not a frequency thing. We don't have to speak every day, but when we speak, we make it count. And I pretty much grew up a big loner, right? So I was able to just like hang out with myself and spend time by myself. And someone that's called me out big time was my older sister. She was just like, no, we're family. We want to know what's going on. So it's also in acknowledging the fact that I haven't always showed up properly for these people. But every missed opportunity, every time I have messed up, it's been a matter of sitting down and saying, hey, this relationship means something to me. And you know, if I wronged you, let's figure out a way to make this better. And the best apology is changed behavior. So tuning and fine-tuning as we go and moving, because you have to tailor every relationship differently. There's no one size fits all for it. Yeah. So yeah.
That's quite interesting, man. Like, the dynamics of relationships then bleed into the type of work you're producing. And when you are creating, what's at stake for your relations, you know, because you make music. It's like you can say things in your music that probably reference a moment that was so uncomfortable for the next person.
True.
How's that dynamic being?
I mean, I try avoid saying people's names, so it's not like a you know?
Yeah.
I watched this Drake interview, and he also said like his one regret is like literally name dropping people in songs, because he sees and feels how that affects them. But in the way I'm doing things, music is therapy for me too. So I'm allowed to speak about how I felt on the situation. That helps me deal and process with what happened. So, I mean, I'll do like my due diligence and sit the person down and tell them, hey, this is a song and it's going to go out, and maybe get a early opinion from them on how they feel about it. But I'm not trying to be malicious about anything. So I'm a little petty, but I'm not that petty.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah.
The business of being independent, how are you going about it? Understanding that you have a job. What's the impact of your job on your creativity? Because photographers need money, stylists need money. Even if we're friends, even if there's certain consideration that must always be put forward.
Of course. So I'll say this. I think my job has truly allowed to nurture the discipline in me. So it's knowing I don't have the full 12 or 18 hours that I can spend making music and doing these projects. I might have a limited 5.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to maximize on the 5 hours I have instead. It pays the bills. I have expensive taste, so it keeps that going. And again, fulfills a different part of me. I love problem solving, and that allows me to do that. Now, the way I want to channel that in future will change, because I'm trying to pivot into something else. But it's something like being in tech is still something that's gonna
be part of everything.
Yeah. And it's informed a lot of how I operate, because in dev we have some we call sprints and scrum meetings, and usually it's like setting objectives for what's supposed to be accomplished in the span of about a week or 2. And you will list all the details down, or like tickets or issues that needs to be resolved or attended to, and you will have meetings on a consistent basis to check in on the progress. And you can list them out on, like, we have a Kanban board, which is essentially things to do, things that are being done right now presently, and things that are done. So my little brother's my manager.
And your DJ?
He can fill any role he has to. That man, love you, bro. But yeah, so we will have the meetings and structure literally like a tech firm, all the things we need to do. And it's fulfilling. It's great. It's inspiring and motivating to see yourself go through things and tick them off. And to speak on, I guess, the relationship with friends that, you know, we work together and collaborate on stuff with. Everybody's got to eat, and I think I want to rise with my friends. So it's not like I don't want handouts the whole time. And if something's gonna pay off, let's all get a slice of the cake, you know. So there's obviously ways to navigate that. There's times I've had to reinvest from, you know, my salary, but the thing I'm really zoning in on is separating Una Rams money from Unarine Una Rambani money. So I mean,
speaking of Unarine Una Rambani and Una Rams, who is Una Rams, like the actual brand? Because everyone at this stage, because of our social media accounts, we've become a brand. Then there's sometimes people we're blessed enough to have opportunities with other brands, the partnerships, etc. Who's Una Rams? What's the business of Una Rams like? Besides not besides the music, because the music is everything.
Yeah,
it starts and begins there.
I don't know if I completely understand what you're trying to have me explain.
Who's Una Rams the brand?
Who's Una Rams the brand?
How do you control that? What's the goal for that? Like you just broke down sprints and everything for us. How do you actually set out for yourself that Una Rams, this is what we're doing? This is the goal for Una Rams. What are your projections for Una Rams?
Una Rams,
that's a product you're selling, right?
Is a social experiment.
Shout out chance.
No, I think the whole thing about it is having fun with everything. At the core of it, it's standing for love, because I'm a big fan of love, and that becomes the message we push, right? And even in the music, I'm not just making songs; I'm making soundtracks to your life, and I want you to share those moments with people. Whether you're, let me not get into specifics. But yes, I want people to share those moments. I got a really beautiful comment on Facebook the one time, and I think we did one of those things where we asked people what their favorite song is. Someone comes on and they're like, Joy, and my baby mama and I actually named our baby after you because of this song. And that's like, that type of impact is insane. So Una Rams, it's so weird to speak about myself as if I'm not that myself. Person. Yeah. But yes, the brand Una Rams is meant for that. Let's inspire someone. Let's push things in the envelope a little bit more. And we can package and repackage it differently, which is why I've had fun with, you know, the different characters. And honestly, everything is the rollout. Everything is the rollout. We've had Samsonic, Veli. We shot a short film for Wendell, who's a new character. And right now, the character that we're going to roll out for this new mixtape is Prince, which is a full circle moment, because that's what I used to call myself as a kid.
That's great. And the purple everywhere.
Exactly. And the bed everywhere. Yeah. So there's intention in things, but it's even that is like, you do it once and it works, and you're like, that could be something that's like brandable. Let's expand it and move forward with it, and it unravels into something else. But I was getting to this. The different characters exist because it's exploring the multiverse, and my album, which is gonna come out another time, I don't know when, deals with the multiverse of love. So if you've ever watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, or you know, this new Spider-Man, which I'm still dying to go watch, or Doctor Strange, you will have an understanding of like how the multiverse works. Yeah. So it's essentially decisions could affect, you know, how your life works, and in another universe, you're probably I don't know, working in finance or something. I don't know.
IT.
Yeah. But all of that, and the message I'm driving is like that in any universe, I choose my crush. Like, I choose you, whoever you are.
Comment in the comments if it's you, you know.
So yeah, that's that. So now it feels like Hold Me When It's Cold from, 3 years ago just now. So that's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Candy and everything are just like we're rolling out for the album.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like your ideas were understood? Because I feel like there's certain increments and Easter eggs we drop in everything we do as multiverse creators.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like, I think they got it this time. I think they really understand why this chapter's like this, why that's that, and why it's built up all to this, like the full circle moment within the circle.
I think the people paying close attention get it. And that's, who I am trying to speak to. There's a difference between a person that just like hears a song off a playlist and they like it, and they don't have to be a fan of me, they can be a fan of the song, right?
Yeah.
But there's people that are really invested in like the why. And so they follow the story. And one thing I've wanted to make a point or to really zone in on is to tell the story. So it's not just for jest. And I guess the more we do it, the better we get at it.
Yeah.
And it becomes fun for people around, and you kind of see that expand and the scale go up. So there's more people interested in knowing the why if the story's told well.
Okay.
So yeah.
I don't know. How do artists do it? You guys get on stage, get to a Marabi club where it might not be people who know your music. You get to like cheekies where you just like, it's a different environment every time, right? Unlike when you're hosting at the gallery and it's predominantly people who understand you and have been part of the journey. How do you do it? Because a lot of creatives, they've come to a point where like they think they're ready, but then sharing it publicly at that level, how do you get that confidence to say, now I'm gonna sing it like you know it?
Yeah.
Might be only one person who might know it and they know it in passing, but how do you carry on in those moments? Like,
again, you're creating moments for and with people. And another thing I'm really good at is curation. So me performing is essentially like me curating a playlist for you.
yeah.
So whether or not you know the music, you're gonna like it because it's goddamn good music. You know? Yeah. So yeah, no, like it's being cognizant of the fact that like not everyone's gonna know you. I never want to walk to a place and be like, "Do you know who I am?" Nah, that's not my vibe. So Marabi was very interesting the first week, especially because it was a completely different crowd.
Yeah.
A lot older, very diverse in terms of like race and
Demographic.
Yeah.
Everything.
So it was interesting being there, but it was also so cool to firsthand in real time see people receive this. Yeah, I mean it was it's bedtime, not bedtime, but like bedroom music, and the space allows for it. So it's
the intimacy.
Yeah. But it makes me more excited. Of course, I can get nervous.
Yeah.
But I'm more excited to introduce the music to new people because it's like we're not just playing to the same spaces. Evangelism doesn't work if you're just like in the same room the whole time, which is why you have to go out and spread, the message.
The most important question in this whole podcast, anyone who's been here for more than an episode, what's your word to the youth?
Word to the youth. Dream really big and have your dreams scare you. Start where you are with what you have. First time I recorded a mixtape or anything, I had to use, because my parents are pastors, I had to use the church equipment and just figured out a way to plug that into my laptop and do some recordings. I didn't have a pop filter. I took a hanger and one of my mom's old stockings and I made a pop filter. There was just no excuse. I just had to do what I wanted to do. You're probably in school, frustrated with what you're doing maybe because it's not exactly what speaks to you. I hope there's something that speaks to you. But use your time wisely. And if you have something else you're trying to pursue, it's not always the fact that you have to drop out. It's not always the fact that you have to let go, want to do the other. I'd say learn to be disciplined and navigate a way to do both. At least finish your degree if you're doing it and chase any opportunity that's out there for your passion. And you will go further together. So find like-minded people, really care about each other, be fans of each other's work, and help each other like accomplish whatever goals and visions you have. Because you all grow into, I saw something really dope and profound. I'm just forgetting which interview it was from or podcast, but they said something like, you know, when you're a new artist, for instance, trying to get in the game, you want that big cosign, you know, from a big artist.
Me too, I want it.
Yeah, right? But it's like being in school and you're like a new grade 8, you're trying to make friends with the matrix. They're gonna look at you like, yo, stay in your lane, you know what I'm saying? Not always the case, of course. Some dogs will, you know, show up and give you a shout out, but look at your classmates and move with your classmates, you know, and you grow and graduate that way. So yeah.
Damn. Speaking of classmates,
yeah,
because the big dog calls you, you win a Grammy.
Yeah.
How does that actually affect you? Because you were enjoying your classmates. You were just building. You were going from one project to the next at a bigger budget, at a better production rate. Now it's like you've technically never dropped an album.
I don't have an album.
You see?
Yeah.
Because you start with the EP, then it's the mixtape.
Yeah.
So now you don't have an album. You have a Grammy. How's that hitting? How's that for you? Like, damn.
Pressure, good pressure. But it's like I said, it's not just a small stage, it's a global stage.
Yeah.
So there's a meticulous care and attention to how this music is being produced and how it's sounding. And I don't think I'm making it for anyone, like, besides myself. I'm trying to make music that I like and care about.
Yeah.
And it's just making sure that the quality control's there. So no one can tell me, yo, it was a nice idea, but the mixing was I need you to go play Usher, play Drake, play Una Rams.
I mean the playlist, nigga.
You know what I'm saying? Be like, yeah, that's what that is.
Are you ever looking at partnerships that can position you at a bigger place, like with DSPs?
Yeah.
And have you gone about that?
Yes. Those are other relationships. We're keeping at like fostering and truly nurturing, because again, like the fact that someone who I really love how they move is Brent Fayaz.
Okay.
And he's been doing it crazy.
A tech company, though.
But that's a new way, and he's still independent. They just figured out a way to make that work.
To hack the algorithm. I don't know.
You don't know?
Okay, to be fair, it then becomes like Magna Carta with Jay-Z. It's like if they bought the whole thing, doesn't take away from the actual thing. Okay.
Because I mean, yeah. It's how you structure things. Because you could own 100% of nothing, or you could own a good 80% or 60, depending on how you structure your thing, of something massive.
Does it not take away from the art of it then for you when it's like, now there's this business play, there's this, make a girl song, make this song.
My one condition that I will never, I will make a piano song because I want to make a piano song.
Yeah.
My one condition everywhere is I'm doing what I'm doing. You're here to amplify. If we can't work it out that way, it's cool. I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing.
Nah, let's end it there. That was the soundbite. That was the moment. Una Rams, thank you for this.
My brother, thank you.
This Wavy Baby old.
Ooh, I mess with him. Wavy Baby's old, but I mess with it. It's nostalgic.
That's a fly dude. He was in BRAAM.
Yo, for real. Shout out for real.